Welcome back. If you think walking alone is enough to stay healthy after 50, today's video might surprise you. What if the real reason you feel weaker after 50 is not that your strength is gone, but that your body has forgotten how to access it? Most people think aging steals power all at once, but in reality, strength often fades quietly. First through instability, then hesitation, then the slow loss of confidence in everyday movement. The first main idea in this content challenges a belief that many people accept too quickly, that getting weaker is simply part of getting older. According to the file, that is not the full story. The deeper problem is that the body gradually loses the ability to activate its own strength. That is why things like standing up from a chair, climbing stairs, or keeping your balance start to feel harder, even before someone thinks of themselves as weak. The video introduces this idea through a simple 30-second test built around 5 signs: standing from a chair without using the hands, holding a wall sit, lifting the legs while keeping the lower back pressed down, holding the bottom of a push-up, and staying stable in a low squat or wide stance. The score is meant to reveal whether strength is still present but disconnected, or whether the body is already starting to compensate and break down. What makes this message so powerful is that it replaces hopelessness with possibility. If the issue were only age, there would be little to do. But if strength is still there and simply not being activated well, then it can be rebuilt. That means the body is not necessarily failing. It may just need to be reconnected, retrained, and reminded how to work as one system again. And that is a much more hopeful place to begin. And once we understand that fading strength may really be a problem of lost activation, the next idea becomes incredibly important. Trying harder is not always the answer. This connects naturally to the first point, because when people feel weaker, their first instinct is often to do more reps, lift more weight, or push through with more effort. But according to the content, after 40 or 50, that approach can actually break the body down faster instead of rebuilding it. The message is clear. The goal is no longer just more movement. The goal is better activation. In other words, strength does not return simply because you force the body to do more. It returns when the body learns how to turn the right muscles on again, with control and intention. That idea is what makes the rest of the video so powerful. Instead of recommending jumping, heavy lifting, or endless repetitions, the content introduces 5 isometric holds inspired by traditional training methods. These movements are designed to rebuild strength without destroying the joints. No explosive motion, no constant wear and tear, just controlled tension placed exactly where the body needs it. And that changes the purpose of exercise completely. These are not workouts meant to make someone simply look fit. They are meant to keep a person capable of moving without pain, supporting their own body, and staying independent as they age. The file emphasizes that real strength is not only about how much you can lift, but how well your body works when life actually demands something from it. So this second idea builds directly on the first. If strength is fading because the body has lost connection, then the answer is not more punishment, it is smarter activation. If this message speaks to you, subscribe for more practical healthy aging guidance, and leave a comment below sharing your score from the opening test. Your comment may encourage someone else to start rebuilding their strength the right way. And once we understand that smarter activation matters more than harder training, the next step is to begin where all real strength starts: the core. This is exactly why the third idea connects so naturally to the second. If the body is losing strength because it can no longer activate itself efficiently, then the first place to restore that connection is not the arms or legs, but the deep center that stabilizes everything else. According to the content, that is the purpose of the hollow body hold, described as a true core reset. It is not meant to build visible abs. It is meant to wake up the deep abdominal muscle called the transverse abdominis, which acts like a natural weight belt around the spine. This matters because many people try to fix weakness or back discomfort the wrong way. They do more crunches, more sit-ups, more twisting movements, thinking that surface effort will create real support. But the file makes a very different point. When the deep core stays inactive, the spine is left exposed. That is when bending, lifting, walking, and even sitting for too long can start to cause pain or instability. The hollow body hold changes that by teaching the core to switch back on. The content emphasizes pressing the lower back firmly into the floor, tightening the glutes, lifting the legs slightly, and holding only as long as the lower back stays connected. In other words, the goal is not endurance for its own sake. The goal is restoring internal support. So this third idea builds perfectly on the second. If more effort is not the answer, then better activation must begin at the center of the body. And once the core reconnects, the body stops leaking strength. That is what makes the hollow body hold such an important starting point. It creates the stable foundation that every other movement depends on. And once the core begins to reconnect through the hollow body hold, the next step is to rebuild strength where daily life demands it most: the legs. This is exactly why the fourth idea connects so naturally to the third. A strong core creates internal support, but if the legs still cannot hold the body with confidence, everyday actions like standing up, climbing stairs, or getting out of a car will continue to feel harder than they should. According to the content, the wall sit is the next key hold because it builds leg strength in a way that is especially safe for the knees. Rather than forcing the joints through painful repetition, it allows the muscles to work hard while the knees stay relatively stable. This matters because many people misunderstand knee pain. They assume that if squatting or climbing stairs hurts, they should stop training their legs altogether. But the file explains that avoiding leg training usually makes the problem worse, not better. When the muscles around the knees become weaker, the knees end up under even more stress during daily movement. The wall sit offers a smarter solution. By holding a supported seated position against the wall, the quadriceps can begin rebuilding strength without the repeated impact or motion that often irritates sensitive joints. The content emphasizes pressing through the heels, keeping the back flat against the wall, and finding a depth that creates effort without sharp pain. In other words, this exercise teaches the legs to support the body again without breaking it down in the process. So this fourth idea builds perfectly on the third. The hollow body hold teaches the center of the body to stabilize, and the wall sit teaches the legs to carry that stability into real life. That is what makes this progression so powerful. First, the body reconnects at the core. Then it begins rebuilding the lower body strength needed for confidence, comfort, and independence. And once the legs begin rebuilding strength through the wall sit, the next step is to address the part of the body that often determines whether that strength feels stable or unreliable: the hips. This is exactly why the fifth idea connects so naturally to the fourth. Strong thighs can help support the knees, but if the hips remain stiff and unstable, the entire lower body can still feel shaky, restricted, or unsure. According to the content, this is where the horse stance becomes so important. It is presented not just as a leg exercise, but as a true hip and balance reset, designed to rebuild stability, control, and confidence from the pelvis outward. What makes this idea especially powerful is the way it reframes tight hips. Most people assume stiffness in the hips is only a flexibility problem, so they sit on the floor, pull on their legs, and hold long static stretches hoping to feel looser. But the file explains that tight hips are often a stability problem, not just a mobility one. When the brain senses that the pelvis is not well supported, it tightens the surrounding muscles to create protection. That means stretching alone does not truly solve the issue. The horse stance takes a smarter approach by building strength and control at the same time the body earns more mobility. The content emphasizes stepping the feet wide, pointing the toes slightly outward, lowering the hips straight down, keeping the chest upright, and pressing the knees outward without letting them collapse inward. In other words, this is not about forcing depth. It is about building a foundation the body can trust. So this fifth idea builds perfectly on the fourth. The wall sit strengthens the legs, and the horse stance teaches the hips and pelvis how to stabilize that strength. That is what makes it such an important next step. It turns lower body power into balance, control, and the kind of stability that helps prevent falls and supports independence as the years go on. And once the hips begin to feel stronger and more stable through the horse stance, the next step is to move upward and rebuild another area that quietly affects everyday independence: the shoulders. This is exactly why the sixth idea connects so naturally to the fifth. Stability in the lower body helps you stand and move with confidence. But if the shoulders are weak or unreliable, even simple actions like pushing open a heavy door, getting up from the floor, or supporting your body with your arms can become painful or difficult. According to the content, this is where the bottom push-up hold becomes so valuable. Instead of forcing the shoulders through endless repetitions, it teaches them to create strength through controlled stability. What makes this hold so important is that the shoulder is not just a strength joint, it is a stability joint. The file explains that many people either stop pushing movements completely when pain appears, or they keep forcing reps through discomfort. But both choices can make things worse. Repetitive pushing under load can slowly wear down the tissues that are trying to hold the shoulder together. The bottom push-up hold offers a smarter option by building control first. The movement is done by lowering into the bottom of a push-up position, keeping the elbows close, engaging the core, tightening the chest and lats, and simply holding. The shaking is normal. Sharp pain is not. In other words, the goal is not to survive more reps. The goal is to teach the shoulders how to support the body safely again. So this sixth idea builds perfectly on the fifth. The horse stance restores lower body stability, and the bottom push-up hold brings that same principle into the upper body. If this message encouraged you, subscribe for more practical, healthy aging strength guidance, and leave a comment below sharing which of these isometric holds you want to try first. Your comment might be exactly what inspires someone else to begin rebuilding their body too. And once the shoulders begin rebuilding strength and stability through the bottom push-up hold, the next step is to bring the entire body together as one connected system. This is exactly why the seventh idea connects so naturally to the sixth. Strong shoulders matter, strong hips matter, and a stable core matters, but real strength does not come from isolated parts working alone. It comes from how well the whole body can create tension, coordination, and control at the same time. According to the content, this is where the bear crawl hold becomes the final missing piece. It is described as a full-body connection drill, designed not just to strengthen muscles, but to teach the body how to work as a single unit again. What makes this hold so powerful is that it addresses a problem many people do not recognize. They think they feel weak because they need more exercise, more reps, or more intensity. But the file explains that very often the real issue is not a lack of strength. It is a lack of connection. When the body is not able to brace the core, stabilize the shoulders, engage the hips, and activate the legs together, movement feels shaky, inefficient, and exhausting. The bear crawl hold solves that by forcing all of those systems to switch on at once. With the hands under the shoulders, knees under the hips, core braced, and knees hovering just above the floor, the body learns to create deep, controlled tension without unnecessary movement. So this seventh idea builds perfectly on the sixth, the bottom push-up. Hold strengthens the upper body, but the bear crawl hold teaches the entire body how to connect that strength into one stable system. And that is what makes it such a powerful next step. It does not just make you feel stronger in one area, it helps you become harder to break in everyday life. And once the body begins to reconnect through the bear crawl hold, the deeper purpose behind all 5 isometric holds becomes much clearer. This is exactly why the 8th idea follows so naturally from the 7th. These movements are not meant to make you simply look stronger. They are meant to keep you capable. According to the content, that is the real difference. These holds are designed to help you move without pain, support your own body weight, protect your joints, and stay independent as you age. In other words, the goal is not gym strength for appearance. The goal is real-life strength that shows up when your body actually needs it. That idea matters because many people train with the wrong target in mind. They focus on visible muscles, hard workouts, or chasing fatigue, but the file keeps bringing the message back to function. Can you get up from a chair without struggle? Can you climb stairs without fear? Can you hold your body steady, catch yourself when balance shifts, or move through the day without pain, quietly limiting your life? That is the kind of strength these exercises are meant to rebuild. The hollow body hold restores deep core support. The wall sit rebuilds knee-safe leg strength. The horse stance restores hip stability and balance. The bottom push-up hold protects the shoulders. And the bear crawl hold reconnects the entire body into one system. So this 8th idea ties everything together beautifully. These 5 holds are not about performance for its own sake. They are about preserving capability. And that may be the most important kind of strength of all, because it is the kind that helps you keep living life on your own terms. And once we understand that these holds are meant to preserve real-life capability, the next idea becomes just as important. They are built on progression, not force. This connects naturally to the previous point, because if the goal is to keep the body capable for the long term, then the training must respect how the body adapts. According to the content, each hold comes with a clear, week-by-week progression. The hollow body hold begins with bent knees and shorter holds before moving toward fuller extension. The wall sit starts at a higher angle, then gradually lowers and lengthens. The horse stance begins shallow before building depth. The bottom push-up. Hold can start on the knees or with the hands elevated. And the bear crawl hold grows from 15 seconds toward longer, stronger holds over time. In other words, the system is designed to rebuild strength step by step, not all at once. That matters because many people fail not from lack of effort, but from asking too much of the body too soon. The file repeatedly emphasizes control, alignment, and stopping when the body loses position. If the lower back lifts in the hollow body hold, the core is no longer truly engaged. If knee pain becomes sharp in the wall sit, the position should be adjusted. If shoulder pain appears in the bottom push-up hold, the variation should be made easier. This message is powerful because it changes the meaning of progress. Progress is not proving how hard you can push. Progress is building the body's ability to hold strong, safe positions with better quality over time. So this 9th idea builds directly on the 8th. These exercises keep you capable because they are not reckless. They are progressive, intentional, and adaptable. That is what makes them sustainable. And that is what gives them the power to rebuild strength without breaking the body down. And once progression becomes part of the process, the final message of the video comes into full focus. Strength is not something you suddenly lose one day. It fades quietly, and it can also be rebuilt quietly. This connects naturally to everything that came before, because after learning about activation, core stability, leg strength, hip control, shoulder protection, full body connection, and step-by-step progression, the deeper truth becomes clear. According to the content, the real danger is not only weakness itself. It is the slow pattern that follows it. First a little instability, then some discomfort, then avoidance of movement, and over time, a smaller and smaller world. That is exactly why this message feels so important. It reminds us that losing strength is often subtle. It may begin with needing your hands to stand up, feeling less steady in a wide stance, avoiding stairs, or hesitating before simple movements that once felt automatic. But the encouraging side of that truth is just as powerful. If the breakdown happens gradually, then the rebuild can happen gradually too. The file makes it clear that the body is not beyond repair. It simply needs to be taught how to work together again. And that is what these 5 isometric holds are really doing. They are not just exercises. They are a way of reconnecting the body to itself so strength, stability, and confidence can return. So this 10th idea brings the whole message together beautifully. You do not need to panic, and you do not need to punish your body. You need to start now, move with intention, and rebuild your strength one hold at a time. If this message encouraged you, subscribe for more practical, healthy aging strength guidance, and leave a comment below sharing which of these 5 holds you plan to try first. Your comment may be exactly what someone else needs to begin rebuilding too.